Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Kamala Harris, the most radically left presidential candidate in American history, had three choices for a VP. A moderate senator from Arizona who's very effective at attracting middle ground voters, a common sense Jewish governor who supports school choice and runs the most critical swing state in the country, and a rabidly left-wing anti-Israel Marxist who governs a state that Democrats have held for the past 50 years. Guess which one she chose today? Well, you already know. Today was our first taste of Kamala Harris in action. It appears the unelected candidate didn't even make up her mind on this until this morning, so she's not very good at choosing things to begin with. Her team clearly wanted her to pick Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, as Kamala had a rally in Philly on this big decision day. You can see what they kind of wanted her to choose. And Kamala, of course, ruined everything, and she ruined that very clear layup in Philadelphia today by picking Tim Walz of Minnesota. Our first glimpses of the pending Kamala disaster. This VP pick was a very easy choice, so of course Kamala screwed it up. Imagine her in the Situation Room tasked with defending our country at a moment of war. Think about what that might look like. And with that, we begin a deep dive into Kamala's VP choice. Tim Walz, a Minnesota Marxist who conceals his twisted ideology by branding himself as a regular dad, a teacher, and a football coach, who also supports castrating small children, defunding the police, and changing his own state flag so that it looks more like the flag of Somalia, because those are American ideals. All of that to appease America hater Ilhan Omar and the large Somalian base that resides in Minneapolis and helped get him elected. Here's the moment. Take a look.
All right, ready. Whoa, wait a minute. There, that's better.
Yeah, the Somalian flag looks way better in Minnesota. I totally agree. Now, to be fair, not all Somalian immigrants came to the U.S. as refugees only to turn around and spew vitriol at the country that saved them, like Tim Walz's good friend Ilhan Omar. But regardless, it's more than a little discomforting to see a politician so excited and so willing to decimate the history of his own state to capitulate to a population of asylum seekers in this country from Africa. Tim Walz is the white guy with a white wife and white kids who hates white people. That's who Tim Walz is. We all know a guy like that. He's the left-wing cancer that we can't seem to cure in this country. He is the embodiment of that. Walz was the happiest guy in Minnesota when Antifa and BLM destroyed Minneapolis in the summer of 2020. Listen to the words that he used while his largest city was being destroyed.
That's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back. A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change.
It's a garbage dump for a governor right there. An exciting time as his largest city was destroyed. A society not centered around equity will eventually fail. Tim Walz is a communist who doesn't know anything about history, ironically, and he's not afraid to hide it. Here he was last week on that now infamous beta male apology Zoom call, White Dudes for Harris. Take a listen.
We can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Tim Walz, the former high school history teacher, is the snake that turns your 15-year-old into a communist, while viciously lobbying against vouchers, charter schools, and cameras in the classroom so you can see him do it. And when his fellow Marxists came out to destroy history, which he claims to teach, tearing down the statue of Christopher Columbus in St. Paul, Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz stood idly by with the popcorn. Aware of threats to tear down that statue, he refused to protect it and then told the media he understood why it was ripped down. And when charges were brought eventually against the culprit, they were dropped. Of course they were. In keeping with this push for societal equity, we now arrive at Tim Walz's push for the destruction of Israel. Walz has spoken at events for CARE, the Council for American Islamic Relations, a group directly tethered to terror groups in the Middle East. CARE is one of the vehicles that gets American dollars straight into the hands of Hamas and other terror organizations, and they have a good friend in Tim Walz that likes to come to their events and speak proudly to them. Which, of course, made Tim Walz the perfect choice for Kamala Harris, who most thought, as I said, was going to pick Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. But it's clear now Kamala clearly couldn't stomach Shapiro's Jewishness, even though the Democrat from Pennsylvania tried so hard to shake it off in the days before Kamala made her big decision. On Friday, it was a sad moment. We all watched a Jewish man forced to do the standard left-wing Jewish public humiliation ritual, apologizing for not supporting a two-state solution some 20 or 30 years ago when he was in college.
The Philadelphia Inquirer is writing about a 1993 college article you wrote where you expressed skepticism about a two-state solution. I understand you do support a two-state solution now. Can you kind of just talk about that evolution?
Something I wrote when I was 20? Is that what you're talking about? I was 20. Look, I have said for years, long before October 7th, that I favor a two-state solution. Israelis and Palestinians living peacefully side by side.
He knows it's not possible, but he has to say it. Imagine saying that and selling out your soul and then still not getting the job. And to make it even worse, Shapiro had to stump for Kamala Harris about 90 minutes ago before her speech in Philly tonight, where he thought he'd be standing next to her as the VP. How painful. But sadly, there's no room for a Jewish guy in an equity-based presidential ticket that can't afford to lose Michigan, as we all know. And continuing on with Walz, once again, we want to take a look at the children of the people who want to lead our country, because you can tell a lot about somebody by the children that they raise. And we've sure seen plenty of Hunter Biden already. And we showed you Kamala Harris's stepdaughter with the hairy armpits and the wacky ideology. Enough said on her. How about Tim Walz's daughter, a young girl just as eager to destroy this country as her father, it seems, when BLM was destroying Minneapolis? Hope Walz tweeted out that her daddy had ordered the National Guard to not make any arrests, emboldening the rioters to do as much damage as possible. She wanted them to be unafraid. Ironically, the lives most destroyed were black lives, the people who actually live in inner cities like Minneapolis.
They turned and started coming over here, and I'm sitting out looking in out my window. And they went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. Not gonna bring George back here. George is in a better place than we are. Last night, I'm going to be honest, I wish I was where George was, because this is ridiculous. These people are tearing up our livelihood.
Where do you think all those riots happened in all those major cities? Do you think they happened in Tim Walz's neighborhood? No, they happened in her neighborhood. And that is the real impact of Tim Walz. This is a look at what Kamala Harris wants for your country. People like this guy. This is her wingman, and these are the radical ways that they want to destroy your country to satiate their immense hatred for the dangerous inequities of Western freedom and capitalism.